Hey guys, welcome to a brand new mixing tutorial video. We're taking a look at this cover of Teeth by Wage War, and I am very proud of this one. Let's check it out. I think there's a whole confluence of factors making this one of my best productions yet, and we're gonna go through each and every single one of them. Okay, I'm bypassing the master bus, but keeping the limiter on so that the tutorial is nice and loud and consistent for you guys. Doesn't affect it too much. Okay, so first things first, new drum sound, that is right. I have mixed a new drum sound inspired by productions exactly like these, Wage War, all of Jeff Dunn's stuff. I was looking for something that felt very metal, the kick to feel very one-shotty, and the snare to feel nice and big. That was the goal for this, a nice, really metal kit. What's the part that shows it nice? You can see it's nicely pushed, very consistent. So what is this? This is all Get Good Drums Invasion, this drum sound. Shell selection, you got the maple golden kick, and you got the lowest snare in the pack, the Vinnie Paul. The usual assortment of cymbals, these are my favorite cymbals that I own in library form, but the more important thing for this drum sound is the prevalence of the one shot. So the kick one shot there, and the snare one shot here make a bulk of the sound. If I mute them, it's a completely different story. So the one shots in this library are what really inspired me to go for a new sound. And there's a lot of processing. As you can tell there. So let's go piece by piece. Let's turn off the bus stuff. Let's talk kick. The kick, I just want the kick to slam at all times. I basically have two settings. It's the 110 and 100 alternating on hard parts, and then the 190 alternating on soft parts. So there's not a lot of dynamics, and my mixing is going to reflect that. So you'll see me use the Focusrite channel strip for a change on this one. I usually use the SSL, but since I wanted this sound to be a little bit different and maybe a little bit sharper, if anything, I think the Focusrite sounds a little bit sharper in the curves that it uses compared to the SSL. That's why I'm using it. Always using the nice console saturation emulation. So every time you see me adding this, it's not just about the EQ, it's about the roundness of the saturation that helps the drums immediately get a little bit of compression and warmth, just a little bit. So very big difference there. You could hear the boost at 56 and all the high end. There's 2K and there's 5K. More EQ with the FreeQ. Another one you'll see a lot. This one is more visually easy to explain. I'll let you look at the curve, and there's also a little bit of drive in there. Let's see if we can hear it. Definitely making the kick a subby menace and adding all of that goodness. And then, yeah, it kind of got a little bit woofy. And that's what this is about. Pro Q for me is usually about the nice subtractive moves. And the high end got annoying after all the limiting, as I recall. This sounds kind of ridiculous, so I'll do it the other way around. When it comes to dynamics and loudness, we have a clipper. This explains it. And when I clipped it as distorted as I think I'd like it, there was a lot of low end hitting the distortion that sounded bad. So I cut it before. Now it's clipped, but the low end isn't farting. Then it's just limiter for super control, barely hitting. And then R bass is like me generating the sub kick at about 50 hertz. I always like a little bit of this. Very big journey there. The snare. It really just sounds louder. There's a lot going on. So the Focusrite here, saturating and a lot of EQ. So the main thing is that around 200, that boost, making it smack down there. Oh, and apparently the high end of 5K and the mid-range, very important here too. Hoo-hoo. Wow. So the free Q in that low frequency, 185, is what gives it that nice round bump. That's what you're hearing. Drastic. Then it's about that little ring. Plus I shaped the mid-range a little bit there. And then the loudness tools are the same. You can see the plugins are the exact same, just different settings. That's what I usually like to do to have more consistent kick and snare. Snare clipping a little bit less than the kick, but limiting more. Yeah. And then R bass, not at 50, but like 100 or 90, gives the snare low end to compete with the kick. If you pay close attention to the low end there, you see what I mean. Toms, I'll be honest, they got a very simplistic treatment. They're distorted. That's what they are. Very simple mid-range cut. Pick the worst offender. Here I use the SSL, funny enough. I forgot to use the Focusrite, whatever. It's just for the high-end boost mostly. And there's a cut here to make sure it's not too much. Versus. That is drastic. You can also hear the boost at like 80 hertz and the saturation too. A little bit of a mid cut and then clipping. Is it clipping? Oh yeah, the right channel of course is clipping. I like to clip toms because they are very pokey by nature and you want to cut some of that poke so you could boost up the sustain. Yep. The reverb just on snare. Nothing to write home about, basically no processing. The hi-hat mic. Removing the annoying stuff. So mid-range honk and mid-range sharpness. Let's go to the overheads, very important. I wanted this sound, funny enough, as processed as it was, the way to bridge it was going to be to have some natural drums in the overheads, where I usually just isolate them. Isolate the cymbals on the sampler. Here you have a little bit of the snare decay on overheads. So that is a 10K boost to make it, well, very cymbally. And here's the hero of this mix, BX Refinement. So I figured out that sometimes what I want Sooth to do Brainworks Refinement does better, and that is shifting the high end. Sometimes, this is the worst explanation ever, but or not. Sometimes stuff do be sounding like this. You're like, oh, I want to increase the high end on it. And when you increase the high end on it, you find yourself just lifting all of that annoying mid-range. Brainworks Refinement does this to your stuff. It like shifts it shifts it from here to here, your annoying mid-range stuff. It does it through this mean, which is please, did I delete the overhead track? I am so gone. Okay. This is not the best example. That's what it's cutting. Very annoying. Okay, you'll see better on the guitars. I got ahead of myself. This helps the 3K area. This is the real helper here. Okay. All the annoying whistles plus a 5K dip. Soothe just a little bit. More for the 5K area. Right now we got this going. The room, ever so essential in making drums sound like drums. Lot of stuff going on. So the first thing I added was, I can't live without Drumforge compressor on rooms. Just smacking the snare. The difference is between it going pock, pock, we're going boom, boom. It's literally that drastic of an envelope shift. Then before it, I decided to get rid of some kick drum through EQ, through means of EQ. Got rid of some mid-range. And then just before I cranked Saturn on the soft warm tape thing. Really enriches the snare, but in retrospect, it kind of makes the cymbals harsh, which is weird. But that's why I use Brainworks Refinement. Wow. Listen to that. It's what I told you. More annoying mid-range. A little bit more soothe. And yeah, we have this. Sounding slamming. We really need bus compression, which I'll do. But I also wanted some more snare decay, so I added the snare 12A room sample, which is the classic metalcore snare sample. I wanted a little bit of that. I don't think it's working too well. I might change it. That's why it's so quiet. I mean, in solo you notice it. It's just a little bit more length. It's actually cute to shit. What? Yeah. All of the mid-range taken away because it didn't fit. The room comp. And a limiter. Nothing too special. It's that the limiter is making it very much quieter because I didn't really like... I wasn't too happy with how it fit. It kind of helps. You can hear when the snare's alone, which is very rarely in the song. Moments like this. Uh, but we need bus compression. So here's a new EQ. This is a Pultec emulation by Acoustica. It's a free plugin, and I am using it to boost the low end and the high end, which is what it does. So it's giving me a smiley face EQ. Let's hear this. Please. It's already a drastic hi-fi improvement. And God bless Dan Korneff. Amplified instrument processor is here, and it's just for the saturation. This makes the cymbals softer, and it makes the drums rounder. That's how I'm going to describe it. Hear for yourself. It's just a better maker. I've also used it to boost 10K 1 dB. And the big boy arouser is here compressing our snare. So right now, if you play this with the mix, it's cool, but the snare kind of pokes out. So why not take advantage of all that snare energy and shape the transient with the attack control and the ratio? Not only get that shape going, but also you get to push everything up because you compress the snare. So that's what you should be listening for when I A/B. The transients are much more pleasing and consistent, and everything else has more energy. And when you play with the music, it makes more sense. So that's this drum sound. Really cool. I'm happy with it. Let's move on, because I'm also really happy with bass. So, of course, new bass, Dingwall. Sounds so consistent. Sounds like a Dingwall. And then I could actually hit these low Fs, which is nuts. So what's cool is I've decided to try Old Faithful Joel Wanasek bass. With this new bass, this sounds like a completely new plugin. Like, now I kind of understand the Darkglass fascination. It's just that it sounds like it's the Dingwall into Darkglass sounds like the thing, man. But one thing I decided to do today was focus the low end around R bass. Drastic change there. I built the low end around the harmonics from R bass. As you will see here, this filter is important. But the low end shaping here is where I try to shift it down from the boomy guitar region to the sub region. And into Korneff Boy. I remember this being a big change. Let's see if it was. Not too big because I volume level it. Imagine I'm taking out 3 dB and it still sounds radically different and like same quality. There's a mid-range boost 2 dB at 1.8 as well. This is sick. And this is sick. So what's going on here? Mayonnaise. Into my first neural plugin, Archetype Gojira. I bought it for this cover and for future ones, of course, not because of the amp at all, because since I'm using external IRs even, we'll talk about it. This is just stock. I don't care what distortion it is. I care about the octave pedal. It sounds insanely good. The tracking is great. This is probably going to be fun to play around with too. So that's Gojira. The external IR is by Jeff Dunn, the man who mixed this record. So it only made sense to use his Tight and Bright pack, which you could get at his website. Just look up Jeff Dunn IR. This is the 57.7. That was comparing to the stock one. Now, this is all nice, but it's a little bit... It has that V30 thing, which I don't care for too much, which is a ton of mid-range. And I shape that a lot with EQ, but the first thing is Brainworks refinement. So the damping, which is... I love this plugin on this mix. So the damping is the soothe thing, which is all fine. Then you can compensate it with this presence knob, and that boosts what the V30 is lacking for me, at least in comparison to like Greenbacks or GH 12s, which is that 5K, 8K thing. I mean, you could do fine without it. Some people won't even like this move, but I like it. Into the saturation on this guy. And even more high-end boosts, and mid-range boosts. I went nuts. I think I went a bit nuts on this mix, but that's why I like it so much, maybe. Again, what I feel like V30s need to have... I mean, not really this, but that was a mix thing. It's this material that I found myself balancing a lot. And this EQ is just an automated filter. It's doing nothing. Yeah, that's the basis of our mix. I think it sounds really good. And all the rest that is put on top just makes it so much better. So let's go through that. Let me have a sip of water because I've been talking a lot. Okay. That guy. Same tone, but like you have the Fatso with the higher octave. And a lo-fi EQ. And the same refinement guy doing the high-end trick. Then the same guy, but with a stereo doubler. Then, this is very simple. It's the same tone, but I lo-fi EQ'd it on the plugin just to try out the EQ. Turned out pretty cool there, and I guess this is copied from the main tone. Let's do leads before synths. So I tracked this with the whammy. Which has been a very fun addition to the thing. I can't pick it up now, but yeah, there it is. The Digitech whammy Ricochet. What's the processing like? This is... Oh, it's actually the same IR. Okay. So I just copy the tone over like a lazy guy. I actually left the Fatsa one. I didn't think I did. So there's a ton of octaving going on then. Getting rid of the low end rumble. Pan Man, super essential. Sync to the beat. Giving me left, right, please. I jacked this up, which made it a little bit too aggressive in retrospect, but that's fine. One thing is sure, the mid-range control is really helping. And then 50% reverb for it not to be alone. Short decay though. Really helps. The chorus lead, yeah, for this lead, I switched to the Uni. I forget what this Unidone is not right. Is it Unidyne? It's a different microphone mix. So it's the same AR, but sounds a little bit different so that the lead sticks out. Different mid-range as you can hear. Throw it a little bit wide with the side widener. Some stereo presence there. Big EQ. Just controlling all the unnecessary stuff. And then Echo Boy. Giving it all the space. Pretty simple. This is... It's basically that chopped up thing into the same tone, into a lo-fi EQ, into... Oh, I thought it was Pan Man. No, it's the amplified instrument processor to get rid of an annoying whistle. Pretty weird, but... Man, listen to this. I am so happy. Okay, so what's key in this mix that doesn't show? It's the synth work. Guitars are doubled with the synth. I'll mute it. That's cool, but this... It's a different story. So this is the Noise Engineering Sync. Just making a nice aggressive chopped off saw square wave hybrid. And then the hero of my synth work, the Ruina Distortion. Basically the Mick Gordon maker. Whatever, steal these settings, I don't know. I fuck with them. The important one is Doom. And the octaves, of course, because without the octaves... Throw it wide with a chorus on top so that it gets into the same space as the guitars. And then it's, yeah, the sub is dangerous. This part had the major third harmonics and the chord is in major. So I don't want to hear do 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 do. Very nerdy EQ move there. And then there's a lo-fi version, which is just a different EQ at the end to blend with the lo-fi guitar. I cooked up the most simple serum patch to make a little reverb block for the chorus. So that's just this little filter bump thing here on a saw wave with some unison chorus. Oh no, is this going to crash my computer? Why was that slow? This session is too big for my own good. Into the reverb is key. Sounds stupid on its own, makes the chorus bloom. Here, there. That's the synth work. There's percussion work here. Hi-hat. I EQ the hi-hat. I add pan man to the hi-hat is important. So this is on a trigger basis, so it triggers every time it plays, and it gives it a little random thing between this narrow width. So every time it's in a different spot. Without it, it's very boring. There. No, where can you hear it? There. Tambourine on the chorus. Spitfire. Spitfire had a tambourine on their $29 media toolkit that has a ton of random shit. I EQ the tambourine. It just can't hit 15K that hard. The rest doesn't matter. Throw it wide with the side widener. And pan it slightly left because it gets boring in the middle. Oh, there's so much in this mix. So this it's a kick and snare, and the high end is removed because it's a build-up. Those drops are so loud. I fucked up. This is sampled from the beginning of the song. Sue me. Today's explosion is brought to you by two parts. This, which you already know and love because I use it, but I decayed the low end and replaced it with a different sample I did with a kick drum and reverb. I like the low end bloom of this better, but I like the impact of this one better. So you fade out this one and put them both. Yeah, I created a new explosion sample today. It's really important in here. And there's a drop. Yeah, these drops are louder than everything else. Why is that? I think I fucked up leaving those drops at 20 dB. They sound dumb. Whatever. There's a drop sound. And there's a build-up sound. Whoo! I ran through everything. It wasn't easy. And I just turned on everything in the master so he could blow this bitch up. So Gullfoss is tame today. We're only using a little bit of each parameter. Recover is giving us some of that low and high thing. But tame is balancing something that I could have gone individually on the bass to do. It's just that the bass is very focused on that higher bass area, not the sub. And tame tames it. The whole mix. It does control the bass and the mid-range and gives us that oh so good sheen. Okay, so bus compression. I should have turned this on as soon as I mixed the drums because that's when I turned it on. The snare changes drastically on this because the snare is very pokey still. I mean, I'm hearing this without a limiter. Here it does matter, the limiter. So I was experimenting with all the different attack times, and I found that on this drum mix, I really wanted one of the short ones to cut on the snare, and 0.1 was too much, and 0.3 just leaves enough at the tip for you to hear the click of the snare. But it makes everything else have that energy because now the drums are interacting with it and you can turn everything else up because you're cutting off the peak of the drums. So that's the compressor. Oxford inflator, this mix needs inflationing, and I know Jeff Dunn uses a lot of this. So here it is. When you go this hard, guitars just sound louder. I'm compensating the volume change, and you can hear the sides just have more density. Which is cool. Oh no. Softtube tape has a visual bug on my system. I hope this doesn't crash the thing. Please. Thanks. Oh my god. I don't think I can even hit play. It's really laggy. So tape, and I'm not gonna, can I turn it on? Yeah. Tape is here on tape C, which gives it a mid-range character that I like. Let's A/B it without looking. Can we do that? Okay, as you can see, I almost crashed the thing. Tape doesn't work well on my system. I'm going to turn it on here. Hopefully you can hear the mix become a little bit more glued together. The snare doesn't poke out as much. Cymbals are a bit softer. Not too big. And then with the linear multiband, I am trying to use this as EQ, and that is by means of compressing the lower mids a little bit more. I like everything to be hit a little bit, but the low mid's a bit more for that scoopiness. You can hear what I'm going for if I exaggerate it there. And then the limiter. Ozone is back. I've activated it on this computer, and I'm going ham, cutting as much of the kick and snare as I can to make this mix very loud. It's as simple as that, really. I just want to chop off the kick and snare. I am tired of talking. This one had a lot, but I am really happy with how this production turned out. If you liked it too, I am happy. So I hope you've learned something. There's a lot of cool stuff on this mixing tutorial. So any comments, questions, concerns down below. Thank you so much for supporting. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.